right, good morning, guys. So today we have a early 4x2 VO2 max with 4x20 minute low cadence and some volume. So if you remember on my ATP that I showed you guys yesterday, I've got, let's see, where are we? Yeah, 4x2 VO2. I've got some like 6x20 alternating cadence. We're only doing 4x20 today because I'm intermixing the VO2 max workout and the cadence drills today. And I'm shortening the time schedule because I have a meeting today and I need to get off the bike and have time to eat before getting to that meeting. So we're only doing 4.5 hours today. But it's going to be the same training stress score as what we had yesterday during the 5-hour ride. So it all equals out. And for carbs today, I'm going to be trying to take in close to about 80 grams per hour. So we've got 180 grams here. I don't know what the pair is. Maybe that's like 20 grams or something like that. And then I've got a bunch of these little like candies. These guys are great for outdoor riding when it's really cold because the gel will basically get so thick to the point that you can't suck it at all. But the candies you can just like shove into your cheek and it'll dissolve. So those are really great. So if you guys didn't know, I have a free train camp over on intervals.icu, which is what you just saw there, what I use for my training software. And I think we're about like 500 athletes in that group right now, so that's great. Keeps growing. And I encourage you guys to ask questions over there, training questions. Sometimes I can answer them directly in the group chat. Other times I'll answer them in videos. So one training question that came up recently was, what do I think about sweet spot training? You know, because sweet spot training, if you look online, and there's a lot of like GCN type videos and stuff like that really say it's like the best training ever, right? Because you're doing a lot of good work, but you're not getting the type of stress that you would be getting if you were doing something like VO2s or threshold workout or something like that. And I agree with that to an extent. The problem is people overdo it. So they see it as like, oh, this is the magic pill, the magic bullet to skip all the hard work and I can get the best bang for my buck. And if you're time crunched, which most athletes are time crunched, and my definition of time crunched really is anything under like 12, 15 hours a week. You know, you're not, this isn't your full-time pursuit or even like a true part-time pursuit. And that's fine. You know, you don't need to be extreme. If you're like riding like 5 hours a week, then like, yeah, I'd say sweet spot has like a good place in your training. But sweet spot is still engaging your sympathetic nervous system, so it's still a stressor versus if you're in kind of like a mid zone 2, low zone 2, you're more parasympathetic, so you're not pumping your body full of stress hormones and things like that. So you're training different energy systems, right? 5 hours of sweet spot in a week cannot replace what a long 5-hour zone 2 ride can do for you. So I encourage athletes to get in those long zone 2, zone 1 rides. And I encourage you guys to follow that 80-20 principle, where 80% of your rides are easy and 20% are hard. The key is keeping the easy days actually easy and not going crazy, and keeping the hard days hard. And I actually think that actually getting closer to that 90-10% is the way to make the most gains. The challenge is, and this is a hard pill for a lot of us to swallow, we all want results like now. It takes time. You know, cycling is an endurance sport. we're talking about building up that endurance engine over years, over decades. You know, you need to have a long-term view. You can't just be about, my FTP is this week, and by next week I want it to be 10% higher. That only works when you're first coming off the couch, and I think that's part of the problem. Is a lot of us see those gains really quick when we first start, and we think that's going to continue forever. And Zwift, you know, I love Zwift, but it gamifies so much of it, and their workouts on there are not designed for longevity or for an endurance athlete in mind. All right, so an hour in, doing pretty good. We're about to start the zone 5 intervals, 4 by 2 minutes. The first two I'm going to do at a target of low zone 5, just kind of wake the legs up. And the last two I set to the very high part of zone 5, so 120% FTP, more just to see how that effort feels. And then I'll test this workout again in another 1 to 2 weeks and compare my perceived exertion between the two. This will be the first time I've done zone 5 this season, and really anything above zone 2, so it's probably going to be a sufferfest, but let's get it. Yeah, and also we're not using any erg mode. Okay, I don't like erg. Definitely harder than it used to be. That third one is really hard. I don't think I can do another at the high end of zone 5 right now at this time of year. We're gonna try, but it's gonna drop to like mid to low zone 5 easily. Faded at the end there, but held on longer than I thought I would. All right, so now I'm on to the alternating high cadence, low cadence, just below LT1 or right at LT1. And something to know is I write these workouts in a way that it gives a specific target for the RPM, but it's all relative to the individual. So high means higher than your normal, low means lower than your normal. All right, so it's all relative. Zwift is going to yell at me consistently to either spin higher, spin lower, more power and less power. I just ignore it. I keep an eye on my perceived exertion for power and my heart rate to make sure I'm not bumping into tempo. And I just keep an eye on doing more RPM on the high than what I usually do. So 100 RPM is higher than my preferred 88 to 95 RPM for this segment. On to the low cadence segment. When I'm outside, I have no problem doing around 50 RPM, but on the indoor trainer, 70 feels pretty low. And if I go lower, sometimes you're fighting the trainer, so it's going to depend on the trainer if you can really hit those lower RPMs. And again, it's all relative, right? So when doing these low cadences, you don't want to rock side to side, you know, trying to really torque. You want to keep your body really locked in. And what helps doing that is engaging your core muscles. Yeah, so don't rock side to side, heavy torque, just stable. All right, session over. My legs were pretty heavy towards the end there. That last interval set was kind of tough to finish, but I gotta go shove some food in my face here and get ready for this meeting. All right, we're gonna have a bunch of rice and some dayu. So it's fish. Probably doesn't look as appetizing to a lot of my Chinese viewers and what they're used to seeing. Dayu. probably still not pronouncing it correct, but how it usually looks, especially how when I was in Zhoushan, how Shen Shen, my wife's aunt, prepared it. But I pressure cook it so that I can just basically eat the whole thing. The bones are then soft enough that you can just kind of chew them. You don't have to spit them all out. And that's what I need is I need the protein and the fat that's in it, and ease of use and eating. I can't spend 2 hours picking through bones when I need to eat like 215 grams of it or something like that. So, yep. Then we're gonna have 360 grams of white rice. Making a little bit of a mess here holding the camera. That's right. And that's still gonna put us really shy, but that's not a big deal. I cook a very big stir fry every night, so lots of veggies every night, and then I'll add in another protein source or a fat source, depending on what I need. Like yesterday I added in a lot more of a carb, because I knew I had another big ride today, and tomorrow's a rest day, so I don't need as many carbs tonight for dinner because I'm not going to be riding tomorrow. Even though tomorrow's a rest day, I'm going to be doing my strength session tomorrow. When I first started this 1 week on, 1 week off, I was doing the strength session on the riding days because I was trying to keep my days off, like really truly days off, take a rest. And I do like that. I do prefer to have the days off. Sometimes you just need that for recovery and also just mentally. But it's just it's too hard to do a 5-hour ride and then spend an hour and a half to 2 hours doing gym work. You know, that's 7 hours, not including eating. And if I do it after my ride, I have to eat, and then I need to digest enough in order to be able to go do the strength session physically. And then you need to eat again. It's just, it's too much. It gets way too late in the day. I can't do anything else whatsoever on days when I do it like that. So this is how I have to do it right now. Eventually we'll get to a maintenance stage of weightlifting, and then probably just do maybe one gym session a week. We'll see. We'll see if I'll keep doing the 2 or not. But yep. Okie dokie, so meeting's all done. I think that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Tomorrow we are going to be doing strength session, and that workout will be posted also to the intervals.icu training camp group. So this is going to go over kind of how I'm doing all of these strength sessions and give you some adjustments of how to do them at home if you don't actually belong to a gym, because I don't belong to a gym. So yeah, looking forward to that video. If you guys have any other training questions or topics you kind of like would want me to cover, or things to answer in these videos, let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.